Hello and welcome to Redivine Your Life. Before we get into the episode, I just wanted to take a moment to update you guys on the new publishing schedule for the podcast. From this point forward, we will be publishing episodes every Monday to YouTube, and they will be available the following Tuesday on Spotify. And we'll be doing this on a bi-weekly basis. So every other Monday, the episodes will be available on YouTube. Should be in the morning on YouTube, about 8 o'clock in the morning, and available Tuesday mornings at 8 a.m. on Spotify. Today's episode, I interview a very special friend of mine, Meg Mcelhaney. We met a while back through our wellness community and have since been a support system for each other throughout this journey of life. Meg is a budding entrepreneur and future certified life coach. She's passionate about helping women feel confident, courageous, and embodied in their passions, purpose, and life. She's a certified yoga instructor, a hula hoop dance instructor, and believes a deep level of healing can be achieved through intentional movement practices and creative expression. Thank you guys so much for being here. We really appreciate your love and support and hope that you find something interesting to take away from today's episode. Hello and welcome. Today we're going to start with Meg's interviews. If money didn't matter and your value was not measured monetarily and there were no barriers, what would you do for work or as your contribution to society?
If money didn't matter and my basic needs were covered, I would love to go see the world and help people that I got to meet along my path.
What does spirituality mean to you?
Spirituality, in my mind, has changed over the years. I always thought, like as a kid and like a young person, that spirituality meant needing to believe in a God or a higher source. And over time, spirituality became an internal process for me, learning to manage my emotions, learning to connect to my body and my thoughts in a really like a whole intuitive way. And then once I started to really like grasp that connection, I started to be able to look outward from myself and dabble in the understanding and the exploration of higher source energy. But at this current state, spirituality is really an internal process, an internal journey for me.
And what do you think started your spiritual journey? If there was a moment or a time that you could reflect back on that kind of opened up your eyes to the possibility of something else being out there?
I have a dual answer, and I hope that it's okay to share. For me, doing having medicinal psychedelic experiences when I was in my late teens and early 20s, and then finding natural ways to experience that through meditation and through yoga. So it's kind of like a dual or a triple answer, but it started honestly with psychedelics, and then I was able to tap into that spiritual state through sober methods, through moving my body and through exploring my mind with meditation.
Lovely. I can totally relate to that. So, Meg, when do you feel the most in your power?
Throughout the years, honestly, hoop dance and flow practices were the space, the time in my life, the moments of my life where I felt the most in control, the most empowered in my body, seeing like a direct result of an action or a movement that my body would make or an idea that my mind would have. And today, it is connecting with people through podcasting and through learning to be a coach and, just sharing these deeper stories with people. So it went from a more physical practice, kind of isolated more on my own personal journey, to now connecting with people and having this symbiotic relationship with people through using our voices.
I love that. What did you want to be when you were younger? They ask you, what did you want to be when you grew up? And how does that answer compare to what you're currently doing right now for work?
When I was a little girl, I grew up in Florida, so I lived right by the ocean, and I wanted to be a marine biologist. I wanted to swim with dolphins. I also learned at a young age that there's like aquatic therapy for children with disabilities. And dolphins were like specifically an aquatic animal that had a lot of studies done with children that are experiencing, different parts of their disability, different limitations. And my little sister has cerebral palsy. So I grew up thinking that I could be marine biologist and like help children with disabilities, like cope with different things it had to deal with. Sorry, that answer makes me kind of emotional to think about. um, Today I have I have a day job that is, it's keeping things moving in life. But my passion and my path right now is becoming a life coach and running and growing my podcast and learning how to fuse all of these healing modalities that I have loved and adored and used for my own healing over the years, and learning how to fuse them, glue them all together to help others work through their own darkness, work through their own challenges, and see that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and that everyone is more capable and more in control and in power of their life than they may realize.
Beautiful. What would you say is your intuitive superpower? Just something that you feel comes to you naturally or is a natural gift or anything of that nature?
If I had, it's not necessarily like a positive intuitive ability. I've had to grapple with it a lot over my life, but I feel like I have this innate ability to pick up on the energy of other people, specifically people that carry a lot of darkness or a lot of anger, a lot of just, the not bad emotions, but just like the heavier, darker sides of the human experience. I feel like I can feel that energy from a mile away, and I tend to repel or retract away from that. It could also be like a protective mechanism. But it's almost like I have like a radar in my mind for that kind of energy. And I do sense really positive, uplifting, sparkly, energetic people as well. But I feel like it's very fine tuned for people that are carrying a lot of heaviness and darkness.
Do you feel like the energy that you've been attracting has shifted since your energy of who you are has shifted?
Oh, I love that question. I absolutely 100% do. If I could say more than 100%, I would. The more that I have done my own personal healing, my own soul searching, I've really dove in and honestly made friends with my demons that I've carried throughout my life, and I've learned how to dance with them, if you will. The lighter that I get, the more vibrant, more vivacious people I'm attracting into my life, the more excited to be alive kind of personalities I'm attracting into my life. And it wasn't that way for a lot of years. And I realized that the people I was bringing in or attracting in, mostly subconsciously, were a mirror of where I was at in my life. So it's been really, really, really exciting to attract so many like fierce, passionate, multi-passionate women in my life, and realizing that it's because I'm stepping into that space as well.
I love that. So I'm familiar with your affirmation deck because I have one myself, but some of the viewers out there might not be familiar with what affirmations are and what an affirmation deck is. So if you could take some time to just explain maybe how affirmations have helped you, what they are, how you use them, and what maybe one of your cards looks like.
So I was doing a fitness program a couple of years ago, and part of that was a affirmation deck, and it was this beautiful. I actually have it somewhere in here. It's this beautiful deck of cards, and the idea is that at the beginning of each class, you're setting an intention. You would pull a card, and then you would kind of recite that to yourself internally, like a mantra, throughout your class, throughout your day. And that practice alone was such a pivotal moment. I was doing that class right at the start of the pandemic, and it comes with a lot of really hard emotions, a lot of fear. Everything was coming up. I'm definitely better in motion. And so it was a lot of solitude time with my thoughts. So I learned that I had a lot more heavy thoughts and fears than I realized. So affirmations were one of my favorite terms is positive propaganda, from one of my favorite podcasters. His name is Chris Harder. And he says that, throughout your day, you have so many thoughts, the 70,000, I think, and this certain percentage tends to be negative, quote unquote. And so when you practice mantra, when you practice meditation and affirmations, these kind of practices, you're starting to like override that percentage of negative propaganda, the self-doubt, that inner bee, I like to say, that tends to, kind of bring your mood down. Affirmations kind of start to replace a lot of the negativity. So I would start saying things like, I am powerful, I am independent, I am passionate. I have two sitting next to me every day. I am evolving and I am limitless. And in the beginning, you kind of say these things and you're like, I don't know about this. This is kind of weird. But when you're looking at a card or when you're even on a sticky note, some days I didn't have them with me and I'd write it on my hand, like I am powerful. And I would look down at my hand when I was feeling, like I couldn't use my voice or I was really anxious in a moment, and I would look down and I would see this message and I was like, I'm powerful, like I can handle this. And it made me carry myself in a different way. So I had those cards for almost a year, maybe a year and a half. And I had the idea to create my own deck, because I was having so many downloads come through of affirmations that resonated so much in my life. And I took them from the basic I am method to, I like to change that up a little bit and make it my own. I am affirmations are really powerful for a lot of people, but sometimes if they don't feel like they're in that space yet, it can almost trigger imposter syndrome or like not feel real to them in that moment. So I like to kind of keep that in mind. But I made a deck. It's called Vibrant Moments. And let me see how close I can get this. So I crafted all of the designs myself. The one I picked up, I love this. I guess it goes very fittingly with everything we're saying. So this is actually a photo I took when I was a teenager, and then I overlaid some graphics on it. And it says, my beliefs become my truths guide my life. I mindfully choose my thoughts. And so it can be an I am statement, or it can just be a reminder of something to think about throughout the day. And I'll put them up around my desk. When I was working my old job, I would put them in my pocket. And whenever I would have a hard conversation, I would pull it out of my pocket and read it. I'll keep them like propped up against my computer or in my wallet, like I almost always have an affirmation card with me anywhere I go. And now it's such an ingrained practice that I don't need it, but it's like a comfort, it's just nice to have. Another fun way for people, if you don't want to have to carry something with you, but you want this practice and to help ingrain it, is to like take a marker and write on your mirror. If you have body image issues, or you have things that like you're kind of challenged with right now, like write the opposite. So if you have, if you don't feel smart, you would write, I am brilliant, or I am intelligent, or I can handle anything that comes my way, and write that on your mirror and look at that every morning. That's a really fun kind of interactive thing if you don't want to have to keep track of something throughout the day.
Oh my gosh, I absolutely love that. And I think many people can relate with not fully being in alignment with some of these affirmation statements. So, from what I hear, affirmations are a way of speaking to yourself positively to reinforce a more positive train of thought, to try to ingrain that into your brain, to make it from a disbelief to a belief to being your truth, as that card said, which is so beautiful. When did you know that this is what you wanted to do with your time, podcasting or sharing your truth and sharing your word? Was there a moment or something in your life that kind of just happened that led you to wanting to share this with the world? And if so, what was it?
I think there's a few, it's a collection of moments. I started listening to podcasts again in 2020 really heavily. Music just wasn't fueling my brain the way that I wanted to. I couldn't move about and travel or go do things physically as much. So I needed that activity mentally. So I started listening to podcasts a lot and doing a lot of personal development around 2020. And I fell in love. It's honestly, podcasting has helped me fall in love with reading again, which was kind of a funny byproduct I wasn't expecting. But just like intaking of information, just it gave me something to look forward to every day. And so kind of on the side of that, I was digesting a lot of information, and I was learning how to use my voice through my Instagram stories, sharing more on this public platform. And I realized, I think actually, as I'm saying this, I had a day where I was like, oh my gosh, I have like 10 minutes of Instagram stories. Like, I don't know if anyone actually wants to hear this. It's just so much. And so I had started to dabble in the idea of starting a podcast, but didn't know if I had enough to actually share, enough value to talk about. And I had a dear friend who started a podcast about a year before me, and she just kept poking me about it. She's like, you talk about it, you talk about wanting to do it, you talk about how much you love them. Like, it seems like something you should do. And it took her a year of kind of just being at me about it. And I didn't feel ready. And then finally I was like, if I'm waiting to feel ready, I'm never going to do this. So she gave me one of her extra microphones and a little bit of guidance, some friendly advice to get started. And I just started one day, and it has been one of my favorite things, of favorite activities, projects that I've ever started. And to say I'm passionate about it is such an understatement. It's still a baby. I think I have 11 or 12 episodes. So I'm still just getting started, but every Friday when I get to sit and record, it's the highlight of my week. And I can't wait to see where it takes me in the next few months, few years. But podcasting absolutely changed my life. And I just want to share that love and excitement with as many people as I can.
I love that. I can totally relate too. Shout out to Courtney and the Journey to Limitless podcast for making both of these podcasts possible. If you could tell the world, if you could reach the masses and you could get one message out to the world, the entire world, what would it be? What would your message be?
Believe in yourself above all else. Everything in your life will fall into place in due time, but it starts when you believe in yourself first.
Oh, I felt that my entire body. Thank you so
This is on
much.
video and I'm tearing up.
man. I really appreciate you being vulnerable and sharing your heart, not only in this episode, but in all of your episodes. They are amazing. You guys got to check her out, the Vibrant Minds podcast, and we'll have the link in the show notes and everything. But definitely give it a listen and check out the wonderful wisdom and guidance that Meg is putting out there. She teaches me things every day, and we're all just constantly learning from each other, and in the most vulnerable and raw ways that we can. So thank you so, so much for sharing all of that. I really, really appreciate it.
And we have a fun little surprise. So, for these interviews, we're merging our two podcasts together. So now I get to interview the beautiful Julia, and you guys get to learn a little bit more. Maybe these things you will have already known. If not, I'm so excited for you and for anyone that's listening to get to learn these things and dive a little deeper. So, Julia, can you give us just a brief background of who you are? Who is Julia?
Yeah. So I feel like even in 2020, when we met, I'm a completely different person than I was then, which I've always been such a childlike spirit at heart. I mean, I can't even, there isn't a day that goes by that I'm not laughing or making someone else laugh or smile, or just trying to bring lightness to the situation. So I consider myself like this ball of light that just kind of wants to keep traveling and bouncing off of as many different energetic people, animals, creations. Like, you can find me in the middle of the forest, completely happy, talking and laughing with the trees. And you can find me in a crowd of people at a live music event, bouncing off of real people, having the time of my life, just trying to soak up all the goodness that I can. So I would say who I am is the embodiment of trying to be as present as I can be and living the human experience, but also not taking it so seriously, and finding the fun in this human experience and helping others see that life can be fun and it can be serious and you can learn so much, but it can also be really fun. And it's important to find the balance in that. So back when we first met, I was just a wee little baby nurse getting my feet wet in the hospital. And since then, I'm now a travel nurse. And what's more fun about it is I'm in a holistic functional medicine program where I'm going to be a holistic health coach at the end of April. And my passion to help people and to find this lightness and to live the most in alignment with a heart-centered life is what I'm most passionate about, for like doing things for work. And, I love hula hooping. I love, like I said, live music, getting out, enjoying things. Definitely an animal person. I'm definitely a nature person. Definitely a mountain girl. I'm from Buffalo, New York originally, but currently I'm in North Carolina for a traveling assignment. And I just consider myself very grounded in who I am as a person, so that home is really wherever I am when I'm present inside of myself. And I just picture the world as my giant playground and a place to go and experience new things, new people, new places, and just try to spread the love as I go.
And you emanate all of that. It is impossible to like be in a bad mood or a sad mood being around you. Like, you emanate this love of life. And even in some of your experiences, being in the hospital, like you see some really difficult things and you still just emanate this light. You carry it with you. And I can only imagine, like in the spaces that people are in mentally and physically, when they're coming to you as their nurse, like you're absolutely leaving them, like there's a mark that you're leaving on people, as you're caring for them. And then getting to call you a friend is just like a whole nother level, and getting to witness this growth journey of you, of like you're finding your voice. You're really like legitimizing all of these things that make you so happy, and like learning how to share that with other people and helping other people find themselves through you finding yourself. It's been a really awesome journey to see.
Yeah, yeah. And you're so right. I feel like a lot of the experiences that I have in the hospital are actually what has shaped my perspective on life. And, having all of these different experiences and seeing all of the darkness. And for me, what I believe in my heart is that with every darkness, there is an equal amount of light. So if I've seen some of the most horrible things imaginable, I've also seen some of the most beautiful things imaginable. So with all of the darkness that I welcome into my life, I understand how it is utilized to shape the perspective of viewing the light and focusing on the good and focusing on the choices that you can make to align with the good, and also honoring and accepting the darkness for every lesson and every moment that it has to teach us and help us with our perspectives.
So, can you share a little bit more about your self care practices, your favorite wellness practices, things that you do on a regular basis?
Yeah. So self-care for me is anything that I do that normally I would tell myself, oh, I don't have time for that. So self-care for me is telling myself, yes, you do have time for that, and you're going to do it right now. And some examples of that are like getting my nails done, getting massages, anything physically that I can do to pamper myself, to make myself, my physical body feel better and to feel beautiful and to feel into my human experience. And then other things that I do that are not on the outside might look like more introspective work. So it might look like making intentional movement practices from, going on a walk out in nature to doing some yoga to doing like a HIIT workout or a bar workout or like something very challenging, or could possibly just be something to introspect, like a meditation, or just literally going and getting some sunshine. And what I would like to have my self care looking more like would be a consistency thing, and having it not just be like on my days off that I make this time. So, a lot of those other self care things that I've tried to incorporate into like a daily practice is breathing practices for self care and saying no. Saying no is probably one of the biggest forms of self care that I've adopted in the past few years. And when I mean saying no, I mean saying no to things that are not in my heart center of something that I want to be doing. So that also looks like if I feel like I need to study, or I feel like I need to go to work, or I feel like I need to do something, and in my heart, I know that that's not going to serve me, it's only going to make me more drained, then self care looks like saying no to those things.
Do you feel like saying no has been a, a journey for you to learn how to step into your voice to be able to express your boundaries, or do you feel like that was something that came easy to you?
I feel like it definitely came hard to me, especially as I was transitioning to working as a professional in the hospital. And I could see a lot of my friendships starting to falter, like friendships that I had since high school and stuff like that, because I was changing as a person. And as I was changing and finding out more about who I was and what does make my heart happy, and saying no to those different types of things, I found I was losing friends and I was losing relationships because previously I had measured my worth in how other people viewed me and how other people spoke about me. And instead of viewing my value in how I feel about myself, and saying no a lot of the time was challenging because it would lead to me feeling less of a person and selfish, and feeling like it was selfish to say no to certain things because other people would project their discomfort and how my actions were affecting them. But that was part of what I had to realize, was that as I was gaining my voice and truly honoring what in my heart makes me happy and what different interactions drain me versus what fills me with joy, was offending other people because it was not pleasing them. It was not catering myself to be what they needed me to be. And at the end of the day, it led to making me stronger as a person, because I started to take away the pressure. And when you take away the pressure, you start to realize that at the end of the day, it's only you who's going to be with you. So of course we're lonely beings and we need friends and we need family and stuff like that. But really honoring that the people that I wanted to surround myself with were people that I knew would understand that if something wasn't good for me or it was draining me, that they would never make me do that. And that in and of itself kind of like helped me reclaim the power, and just like always kind of asking myself at the end of the day, like, does this truly align with me? Is this something that, my heart really wants to do? And like sometimes you don't know until you do it and you experience it. But then what was honoring myself was learning from those situations.
So, can you share a little bit more about what spirituality means to you and how having a consistent practice has impacted your life?
So, spirituality, what it means to me is connecting with all of the life force energy that's around us. And what started my spiritual journey was honestly my self love journey, and claiming that to love myself and to truly know myself was how I could understand and love other people. Because if you're judging yourself and you're looking for things inside of yourself that you don't like, you're making it very easy to then have that mindset when you talk and speak to other people. And so for me, spirituality means getting to know yourself so that you can fully love yourself, all aspects of yourself, the dark, the light, all of those different variations of who you are as a person. And that helps you understand the love that you can also give, the unconditional love to all of the people around you and all of the energy forces around you. And for me, it's seeing the world from a oneness perspective and seeing us all from the perspective of being connected, because we are all a version of the embodiment of the human experience. And some people kind of call that like God consciousness, which I don't necessarily align with any certain religious beliefs, or like organized religion, I should say. But for me, spirituality is more about this unconditional love and compassion, really, for all of us trying to coexist peacefully on this earth. And to dive into each of my spiritual practices is to realign with that belief and to ground into who I am as a person, so that I can love myself first and then expand that love and that acceptance and that understanding and that compassion to every life force energy that I meet, come in contact with, and even the ones that I can't visibly see. So actually, my perspective of this has shifted in the past few days, because I was talking to one of my friends about it, and I was like, it's kind of funny. I must sound crazy if somebody were to walk into my house when I'm alone, and to hear me talking to myself or singing to myself or singing to my cat or whatever. But what I realized is why I don't feel crazy when I do those things is because I don't truly feel like that I'm talking to myself. Like, something in me believes that there really is something else out there listening, that something has heard me. And even if what has heard me is just my own self or my higher self or the spiritual energy of the atmosphere around me, I feel heard and I feel held and I feel supported. So for me, when I consistently check in with myself is how I consistently practice spirituality. And if I notice myself not meditating or not journaling or not talking about how I'm feeling, and when I tend to kind of like go through the motions of life and just have this mindset of like, I'm just going to push through and I can meditate later, or I could do this later. That's when I feel disconnected to my spirituality. And that's when I feel disconnected to others, honestly, because when I feel grounded in those practices and when I check in with myself and when I do those different types of things, that is when I feel the most in alignment with my heart center. And then I lead forward my life from that heart centered place. So for me, spirituality is really finding a home inside of yourself that you can rest comfortably and have compassion for yourself, and then share that compassion with the entire world around you.
I love how we both have this common theme, this common understanding that as we connect deeper to all of the pieces and parts of ourselves, what makes us who we are as beings, that helps us connect to energy, that helps us connect to source. Like, the more that we nourish the connections within, the more we're able to nourish and explore the connections beyond ourselves. And for so many, spirituality seems to be this thing that is outside of themselves. They're looking for answers outside. They're looking for blessings and miracles. And while I believe all of those things, and hearing you speak it in such a beautiful way, it's really solidifying. It's really honing in on how much I believe that it starts from within us. If we don't see miracles in the world, it's because we're here to create them. If we don't see blessings in our life, it's because we're here to acknowledge the opportunities for growth. And it's where we're able to create those blessings and that abundance. And I just love that you connected those pieces so beautifully together, between your connection within yourself and your connection to your spirituality, to energy. It's all interconnected. You mentioned the oneness. Like, the more that you dive into these topics, I think the more it becomes apparent that everything is interconnected. When there's an impact on one life, there's going to be an impact on another life, and whether they ever see the connection between the two, everything is expanding and contracting and moving about with one another. You have shared with me a little bit, but I would love to learn more, because I have a limited knowledge of Reiki, and you have been practicing for quite a while now, from my understanding. Could you share in your own words a little bit more about what Reiki is and what a session with you looks like?
Yeah, I would love to. So, Reiki is just honestly one of the, I don't think there's really a wrong way to explain it, but I'm going to try to explain it. I sometimes explain it like with examples, so bear with me. But Reiki is seen as this universal life force energy, and it stems from the compassion and the love that we hold within ourselves as human beings and as beings of life. So Reiki energy can be felt from any distance, time, and space, anywhere in the universe, because there's always going to be life force energy at any point in time in the universe. So Reiki is very interesting because it exists always infinitely and is constantly being recycled, because as you call upon it and you ask for it to be centered into the now, it's kind of like you being centered into the now. The fact that we exist during a timeline, but really, like, time doesn't actually exist. It's just our current experience of it. So if you think of it that way, where it's like this constant energy that's all around you, and you think of even the fact that you can't see the little microorganisms that are in the air, the little bacteria, there's life force in every molecule around us, even if we can't see it. And Reiki lives inside of that. So it's always constantly around you, and it's always there, just waiting for you to kind of tap into it and ask for it to focus, and almost for you to ask to be in alignment with it. And when I got my Reiki training done, it starts with just like a level 1 attunement, where you can practice Reiki on yourself, and then you can move along with the learning steps and the levels to be a Reiki practitioner master, which is what I am. I'm a master practitioner. So I can perform Reiki on other people. And what that kind of looks like is coming into a session similar to when you get a massage, and you come in and you lay on a table. You don't have to be naked, but you lay on a table and you invite yourself to release, and you invite yourself to move through things. So with a massage, you're physically moving the toxins through the person's body with physical touch, and using on a muscular level to detoxify the person. And that's why after a massage, they typically will tell you to drink lots of water and to not lift heavy things and to be gentle on your body, because your body's detoxing. So Reiki is similar, except that it's not on a muscular level, it's on a cellular level. So how those tiny little microbes in the air are all around us, that's how tiny Reiki can get into your cellular level. So how it works is you can do it in person or in distance, and it would start with the person getting comfortable in usually a lying position or a seated position if they can't tolerate lying down, and inviting themselves to focus on their breath. And more or less, I put them into a meditative type of state, and I use my hands to call upon the energy of Reiki. And it would kind of look like you laying on the table, and let's say it was you, Meg. At this time, I would start with the prayer, and I would draw the energy symbols of Reiki on myself, and invite myself to channel the energy of Reiki. And then I would invite it to join you. And I would more or less align our energies and touch our energy. So if we were in person, this would look like me bringing my hands to your energy field, your aura field, and stopping when I make contact and asking for your energetic field's permission to do Reiki on you. And as long as I get a yes from your energy field and from your spirit, then we would continue. And I would then open up the container to welcome in your higher self. I would call upon your spirit guides. I would call upon any loving energies that want to join in the Reiki session to be present during the session of your healing, and invite you as the healing person to take an intention at this time and to tune your attention inward to whatever it is that you're trying to clear from yourself, whether it's a situation. And then as soon as you, even if it's just an emotion, as soon as you find yourself on that point that you want to focus on, just focusing instead, like letting that settle, but then focusing on your breath. And throughout the session, I'll go through your chakras, starting with your crown or starting with honestly anywhere on your body that I feel called to doing. And I'll move my hands and hold the energy of Reiki in my hands to go down and to allow for it to cleanse your energetic centers. So if you know anything about the chakras, just briefly, they're energy centers in your body, and they associate with different points in your body and different colors. And each of those different points holds a different kind of like purpose or power within yourself. So like where we're talking about the throat and my throat being kind of like choked up at that moment, it might be showing that maybe I've been suppressed in speaking in the past, or that it's hard for me to speak up for myself or to speak my truth, or saying no was hard for me, right? And that choked me up. But I would ask for Reiki to clear that blockage for me so that I can speak my truth, so that I can speak into my power. And it allows for those blockages to be cleared so that your energy or your chi, your flow of your energy and your chi can go up and down throughout your entire body system with your spirit, with your soul, with your higher self, and be in alignment and flow freely. So a lot of people leave feeling very at peace, feeling very in touch with themselves, and lighter, just like feel lighter, like they've released a lot of things. And what's beautiful about Reiki is that it will continue to work with you on a cellular level as long as you continue to invite it into yourself and to continue to honor it for what it does for you. And I kind of like to think of it as like the energy, you can feel it. So it's like you will feel me making contact with you. You won't feel it like a physical touch, but you'll feel it almost like a heat wave. Or like, I like to think of it like if you go over to a window when it's cold outside and you stand next to the window, even though the window is closed, you can still feel the cold air a little bit coming through, right? But with Reiki, I like to imagine it when you're attuned to Reiki, when you have practiced honing in on this energy, it's like you open that window and it just comes flooding in, and there's all that cold air, and you can feel the cold air, right? Even though you can't actually hold on to it and you can't grab it and you can't hold it in your hands, you feel it. So that's kind of what it feels like when you have a Reiki session done and you can feel the energy more or less like pulsing through you. Or some people, like even distance sessions, might feel just like a warmth or like being held, almost like they're being hugged, but like I'm not there. So it just shows a lot of truth, I think, when you have distance sessions versus like in-person sessions where I'll be having my hands physically on you versus sending it over distance and time, because like we talked about, Reiki can travel infinitely because it always exists everywhere. It's just about us focusing our intention to it and being receptive to it, really opening up our energetic field to something outside of ourselves. So it is kind of like an outside energy, but it's an inside alignment. I hope that answers your question.
I think I feel that warmth coming
You actually
through.
might, because
Yeah.
I had welcomed it in, and every time I speak about Reiki, because I've been practicing for so long, it just like turns on. Like I can just feel it turn on inside of me, and my hands get warm. And typically, the person who's also being open to receiving it can just feel the presence of this loving energy in them and around them.
Yeah, with your tone of voice, with that explanation, I've never heard it so wonderfully explained. It's hard to research that on the internet. That's something that you that you want someone that is very experienced and trained to explain and describe. And I almost have this sensation, like, that feeling when you're taking the first couple of sips of like a really yummy tea and it's like almost too hot to drink, but it's just cool enough that you can like let it, drip down and you feel that warmth like emanating. That's that feeling right now. It's like the closest thing I can think to comparing that.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that.
And I wanted to dive in because you have so many different healing modalities as a nurse, as a Reiki practitioner. And you had mentioned previously that you're in this holistic health coaching. So you are really taking you're taking wellness for people at like every angle. So you're helping with preventative measures. You're helping for individuals that maybe haven't had experiences with, preventative care before. And that could mean so many things, but you have so many different modalities that you're experienced and that you're fusing together. And I would love for you to tap in a little bit to the holistic health coaching journey that you're on, and what your vision for that is, what maybe inspired you to take this course, and how maybe you see yourself fusing all of these different modalities moving forward.
And the more that I learn about alternative ways to heal yourself, the more I realize that the power to heal yourself lies within yourself. And a lot of the time, it's just the need for a little push or a little catalyst or somebody else to just kind of give you that nudge that you need to truly believe in yourself and to believe in the methods that you can use to heal yourself. And so, a lot of this journey and what this vision looks like is helping people see that, helping people understand where their power comes from and the capability that they have innately to heal themselves and to know what's best for themselves. They just might need somebody to help get them started and to get them on the right path. And that's what my vision for my holistic health coaching is going to look like. And it definitely started with Reiki and wanting to train people in Reiki and how to heal themselves. It's the most free way to heal yourself on a daily basis. Like, sure, it'd be great if we could all go out and get massages every day, but I think we can all agree that there's something toxic that happens to you every day, and there's something that needs cleansing every single day of your body. And Reiki is one of the most pure ways to do that. And all you have to do is practice gratitude and be grateful and really show up for yourself and show up for the messages and the healing. And as long as you do that, the healing will happen in and of itself. So that's kind of where my heart work lies, is in having people believe in themselves and believe that they are capable of healing, and that it's not something that they have to pay for outside of themselves. Like, they might have to pay for somebody to help them find it. And that's what I would love to do for people, is help them find it. But knowing that at the end of the day, the abundance of resources that I have learned have all rooted around healing myself. And I don't necessarily have all of the answers to what you're looking for, but I guarantee I have the right questions, and to get you there and to get you to that place, that realization, and to really empower you to heal yourself. So I would say that as much as I have, I have the holistic, I love herbs, like I love natural remedies, like I wrap crystals just for fun, like for myself, for my friends, and for my family. But I would love to expand that to my clientele if they want, something hand wrapped by me. Like, I would love to incorporate things like that. But honestly, my goal is to just be your guide and to just guide you through it. And really, I don't even want to be your guide. I want you to be the leader, and I'm your cheerleader. Okay. I'm here supporting you and pushing you forward, but you're the one leading you down the path. I might hold your hand at first, but eventually those training wheels are going to come off, and you're going to be amazed at how much you enjoy the ride.
You had mentioned specifically with the holistic health coaching, and again, all of it really blends beautifully together, is helping people I mean, really, in like the most blunt way to say it, like helping people avoid the hospital, helping people
Mhm.
avoid illness before it's too late. And there are some people that are living with autoimmune diseases. There's people that are living with things where their bodies are attacking themselves. And you have this knowledge base that goes so much beyond, so much deeper than Western medicine. And it's such an asset that I hope is invited in the different environments that you work in, different hospitals, different facilities, to help people see that uh, there's a lot of ways that they can soothe themselves. They can help to start the healing process with themselves, that they don't always need to look outside of themselves for that. And of course, medical intervention is important in a lot of very specific areas, but the preventative measures, the proactive versus reactive idea, can really elongate your life, can improve the quality of your life. So maybe just sitting with these ideas that Julia has shared, and really just like seeing if any of them resonate with you, and connecting with her work on whatever level feels best for you,
Mhm.
and doing your best to connect with your own inner source energy, and giving yourself the best possible chance of having the life that you dream of. With coaching, like she said, it's asking the questions. It's not giving people a map or a guideline or a exact how to. It's you're really going to guide yourself through your own healing, and you just have Julia's expertise and wisdom to maybe be a road sign every now and again, or like she said, a cheerleader to help
Mhm.
guide you to just the most whole life that you can.
Yeah, and to add to that, what I like to think of it, not only because so it's the program that I'm doing is with the Integrative Institute of Nutrition. So our focus is primarily on how seeing the person from a whole body perspective, first off, seeing it holistically, mind, body, spirit. It's not just the food on their plate that's making them unhealthy. It could be their career, it could be a slew of things, right? But it's also about using food as the main source of healing and honing in on what foods and what things might be toxic in your body and causing your body to react in a certain way. And this little bit of programming almost that like comes in when everything that you feed yourself, from the food that goes into your mouth to the things that you see to what you tell yourself in your mind, is all on a cellular level telling your cells how to function. And it's a little bit of programming. So when you put like an apple in your mouth, like all of those nutrients and all of those carbs and all those delicious things that your body needs to function are going to go into your cells, and they're going to be like, all right, here's your transcript for the day, get to work. And however the goodness of what you feed yourself is how well your body's going to function for you. So yeah, my goal is to help you make educated, smart choices that align with who you are, and everybody's different. So the apple might work for you and maybe something else is going to work for somebody else, but at the end of the day, only you are going to truly know what's working for you, because only you are living your experience and listening to what your body is trying to tell you. And my goal with helping you is to be your guide, but it's also to teach you how to listen to your body, how to listen to your intuition, how to listen to yourself, so that you can live more in alignment with that inner voice that's always kind of known what's going on and how to live the life that you really desire. And just finding that, helping you find that little voice and turning the dial up a bit so that it's a little louder and that you gain that confidence to listen to it.
Yeah.
So, and then the other part of it is, if you're listening to your body and you're listening when your body starts to say like, hey, like, that place that you went out to eat last week, like, it's a no for me. Your body's like, it's a no. And maybe that symbol is like that you're over the toilet, or you're doing, like you feel tired, or you feel brain fog, or all of these things that we think are normal. But what's really normal, or what your goal should be for normal, is to live each day symptom free of the toxicities, or to live each day listening and trying to figure out like what's going to give me the best outcome when I feed myself it mentally, physically, and even just emotionally, like what you're putting into your body every single day. If you think of it like a little bit of a transcript, and if you keep feeding yourself things that you know has come back and led to you being hospitalized, or led to you, having an injury, or maybe it wasn't the best choice, like there's always something that you can learn from those choices. So my job isn't to make you feel bad about your choices up until this point. It's to empower you to make better choices, to make the choices that are going to lead for you having the most fulfilling, fun, and joyful life.
And it oozes out of you. You're so passionate about it. And again, I feel like every person that comes across who you are as a person day to day is better off than they were before. And now you're really getting like a clear focus. You're getting clarity on how you can best serve others. And I would love to just end with, maybe share like one or two things that you're currently most excited about. And then where can the listener find you to connect with you and learn more about your services?
Yeah. So currently I am building a website, and I am trying to make it so that it is easy to understand what you're going to get from working with me, how to book with me, what the prices are going to look like, and to just make it the most flow possible so that I can be available for you when you need me. And that's kind of, I feel like, going to be an adaptive thing, but I'm excited to get the website going. And this is truly what my heart loves to do. And I'm excited to get back into doing specifically Reiki sessions, and honestly having like a hybrid, because the last coaching call that I did was a hybrid. We did a health history where we talked about health and wellness, but we ended it with a Reiki session. And I feel like it really provided the most healing, because at the end of the session, you start to feel like, oh, wow, I have a lot of work to do, when you start to really look at your life and look at the choices that you're making. And that can be really overwhelming. So at the end of the session, I invited my client to just join me in a quick cleansing session and feel in control and honor where you are in your journey, and that each and every day you have the opportunity to learn and to grow and to be more in alignment with your choices. And each day is an opportunity to make better choices. So just honoring that, honoring the flow, and, ask for help, guys. Like, really, it's like I ask for help. I have a coach, I have a mentor, I'm in a program, I'm paying for people to help me as well. It's like, as much as we want free resources, I truly feel like you get more value out of something when you pay for it, because you're honoring that the thing that you desire is worth paying for. And I feel like that goes to your heart more. And, you don't take it lightly, you take it more to your heart.
We'll have to do this again in a few months or in a year when we have a great capstone and can giggle about all the full circle moments that we're not able to see happening right now, because that just always happens. But thank you so much. And I can't wait to see you out there.
Yeah, thank you, Meg. Appreciate you guys for joining us. Thank you. Thank you.